Ciao and welcome. I wasn't too sure what to cook this morning when I got up, so I went in the fridge and I spotted the chicken that keeps on giving. I'll explain why in a little while. So I decided to have a day where I make do of what I've got. So I got together a few vegetables and potatoes, and I will be doing today some meatballs, little meatballs with potatoes and a stock of chicken and vegetables. So let's start with our friend first. I'll place a bay leaf in the pot and I'll put the carcass with some meat left over. There is a generous amount of meat left over inside it. I have just boiled a kettle with water and I will be pouring it inside the pot to just cover the top of my chicken carcass. I can always add water later. I place it on a hot hob, I put the lid on, and once it boils I will let it simmer for approximately half an hour. Moving on, I will be getting my vegetables ready, and I'll start by pouring a little amount of olive oil in a separate saucepan. And I will start with 3 leeks. These are leeks that Julie has given me from our garden. I have washed them and dried them, but I will keep the majority of them. I'll just remove the very top and slice them in little circles. You can use a large white or red onion as well. You do not have to use leeks. Next is 3 carrots, which I like to slice in nice chunky long bits like this diagonally. I think they look very nice at the end, but also they will cook for a little while, so important that they are nice and thick. And add them in. And to complete the vegetables, I will be adding also a celery stick. Make sure that you remove the outer skin like this, otherwise it will be unpleasant in the stock later. And I will also cut them diagonally, a little bit like the carrots. And in they go. Potato next. I'm using some red potatoes. We only very recently actually switched from white to red. We discovered that they are more starchy and they do not have as much water. And I really love that yellow color that they are. So I will be using these for a little while. Apparently they're also supposed to be healthier, and any vegetables which is got a dark reddish color is supposed to be more beneficial, so definitely worthwhile trying. And I'm chopping my potatoes in slices of approximately 1 centimeter thick, and I cut them again to make them in cubes. And in they go with the rest of the vegetables. So I've put everything from cold on the hob on a fairly high setting, and I'll let everything sizzle for a good 4 to 5 minutes. And at this point also I add a little salt. I only put in a little because I can always add it later again. Oh, it smells nice. The chicken broth is done and everything is cooked. Now the reason why this is the chicken that keeps on giving is because this is my 3rd meal from this chicken. I made chicken with olives, then I froze the breast, and I made chicken strips with lemon the other day, and this is the last now, and I'm using it to make this stock for my polpette and vegetables. Always good to make use of what you have, the best. So back to my vegetables, and they are sizzlingly away, and I'm going to be adding the stock which I've just made. Knowing that I would have done something like this, I purposely left a little meat the other day so that I can now pull it off and add it to my stock. Meanwhile, my stock is boiling again, and I'm going to add my chicken which I've just pulled off. I put the lid on and let it simmer at a very low temperature for approximately 20 minutes. Time to move on to the polpettine. Polpettine, it's the word for little meatballs or mini meatballs. I did mention that it was a recipe of leftover. This is the last of a batch of beef mince, approximately 130 grams. And I'm going to add an egg, and I will add some Parmesan cheese. This is going to be approximately 15 to 20 grams. My next ingredient could be a little controversial. I tend to use normal garlic normally, but I like occasionally using powder garlic. I think there is a time and a place for certain ingredients, and I think a little powder garlic here is absolutely spot on. Just sprinkle it on, literally just a little. Mix it all together so that you get an idea of the consistency, and start adding some breadcrumbs. I will put a couple of spoons initially, and you will have to judge it really, because a lot depends on the size of the eggs, and depends also on how much fat there is in your mince. So a couple of spoons is a good start. And feel it with your hands to see what it's like, and actually think this is pretty good. I don't think I need any more breadcrumbs actually. As you can see, it doesn't stick to your fingers, so it's perfect. And add a pinch of salt. And I also add a little parsley. This is frozen, by the way. I keep it in the freezer. There is a little video on how I do that if you're interested. Give it one final mix with your fork, and you're pretty much set now to make some polpettine or mini meatballs. Entirely up to you how big you do your meatballs, but bearing in mind that there isn't a lot of mince, you want to make quite a few, and this is the size I'm actually doing. They are about 1 to 1.5 centimeter in diameter. So, and I love doing this. I don't know why. I think it's quite therapeutic. And the job is done. There are nearly 30 mini meatballs there. So my vegetables and potatoes have been cooking away, and everything is pretty much looking cooked. If I just stab a potato, yeah, perfect. And look at the lovely color on the top. However, there is a lot more than what I need for tonight. So with the help of a ladle, I'll just remove what I think is the excessive amount of broth. And I'll show you what I do with this later. And one by one, so that they do not go on top of each other, I add the meatballs. I'll let them sink with the help of a spoon. And I turn the temperature up until everything starts boiling again, and I'll place the lid on, and I'll let them simmer on a low temperature for 10 to 15 minutes, on a very, very low temperature. The meatballs will not require very long because they're very, very small, so 10 to 15 minutes will be plenty. But also what is important about this stage is that the flavor from the meatballs, the parsley and the cheese, and of course the meat, will be joining the flavors of all the other ingredients. So 10 to 15 minutes, so we will see what everything tastes like. So back to the excess stock, I said to you what I would do. One thing, obviously, you can keep it in the fridge and it will last for several days before it goes off. If you've got something to cook, you can use it as clearly chicken stock. Or alternatively, you can do what I do. And I freeze it using the ice cubes containers. As well as saving you money, you will also know that this is genuine because you've made it. Isn't that a great idea? Let it cool down, and once it's ready, you put it in the freezer just as normal, and as when you need to have a stock cube, you can use a couple of those instead. Easy. I've reached the last 5 minutes, and I'm now adding 3 handfuls of spinach. I didn't add this earlier because otherwise they would have actually completely dissolved to nothing. Now, this is an optional ingredient. I'm adding them because I've got them, and this is very much about making use of any food left over in the fridge. By all means, if you've got any leafy sort of vegetables, add them in. If you don't worry, but they will add a lovely lovely color to it, I have to say. It has actually been cooling for about 10 minutes while I've been tidying up and washing up. You can see why I removed some of the stock, because I didn't want it too liquidy, and also the potatoes are quite starchy, so I do want it to be a little bit on the starchy side. Of course, it smells lovely. And here is a lovely portion. I'm going to sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on top, not a lot, just a little, and a little drizzle of olive oil. I've got a piece of chicken, a piece of carrot, and a small meatball there, or half a meatball. Very hot. Oh, the meatball just hit me. It's delicious. It's perfect. Really, really nice. Full of flavor. You can taste everything. And such a cheap meal. So definitely worthwhile making if you love brothy sort of food. You can make this for pasta, wheat pasta. Actually, I posted a video which I'll put a link at the end of this clip. And But more importantly, the biggest tip I can give you, next time you do a whole chicken, plan a little bit ahead and keep some of the meat on the carcass, and it's amazing how far you can go with the chicken and save money ultimately. You do not also have to use all of the ingredients I've used. You can use any vegetables you like. I've used those vegetables because that's what I've got in my fridge, and I wanted to make the most of what I have. Great, and I'm done for today. One last thing, if you're enjoying my videos, unless you've subscribed already, please feel free to subscribe or share them with your friends and family. It will definitely help me. My passion is cooking, but also my passion is helping people, and I want to help people on how to cook better, more genuinely, with simple recipes. So that is pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.